The three Babylonian bastards, as Uncle calls them, their rent extraction from our commerce as a species on this planet amounted in 2022 to $500,000 a second. So we are poorer by $1.9 trillion a year. That's the figure, according to the McKinsey Payments Report.
It is really about financial freedom for the masses. I understand confiscation resistance, privacy protection, censorship resistance, scarcity, permissionless, trustlessness. I understand all of those now, and Epic Cash has all of those.
Hey friends, Sean from SGT Report here. Thanks so much for tuning in. Guys, I got to tell you, the dollar's melting down, Joe Biden is a puppet, and our monetary system is being destroyed from within. So the question is, how are you going to escape all of that? Silver, gold, Bitcoin, or maybe Epic Cash? I have the founder of Epic Cash on, Max Freeman, and Uncle V, and these two gentlemen will explain to you exactly why they are so passionate about this important project. And let me say one more thing. Today I received a text from somebody you all know who's got a bigger platform than me in social media, and he says he's looking at Epic Cash, and I'll quote him, he says it looks very promising. Thanks so much for tuning in, friends. Before we start, just a quick word about our sponsor. A new study reveals more than 50% of Americans are struggling to support healthy weight management. They want to lose weight, understandably too, because managing weight is one of the hardest things we can do. But this small trick will make it easier. You're going to love this amazing keto powder. By helping promote elevated levels of ketones, it can help you take control of your cravings and appetite while supporting your weight management goals at the source with just one scoop of this amazing powder per day. Help fight the dreaded holiday weight with 51% off, plus receive several free bonuses, including VIP health coaching for life. Get it on sale before it ends at ketowithsgt.com. That's ketowithsgt.com, or simply click more at the bottom of this video in the description box. The best part is you have 60 days to change your mind. If you're not fully satisfied, you'll get your money back. Order now and thank me later. Hey friends, thanks so much for tuning in. It's Sean from SGT Report here. I'm delighted to have you all back. Guys, the times are dire and getting more dire by the day. The US dollar is being destroyed. Now we can blame that on the puppet Joe Biden, but he's not the only puppet to blame. Regardless, the world is now moving against the dollar, the world's reserve currency, like we've never seen in our lifetimes. Russia, China, Brazil, South America, India, Saudi Arabia, and even France and Japan are de-dollarizing. Now, Tucker Carlson went nuclear about this on Wednesday night, quoting an article from the Daily Caller, and I want to play just a blurb of that for you right now to set the stage, friends. Listen to this.
E.J. Antoni and Peter St. Onge wrote an incisive piece in the Daily Caller last week that explains part of why this happened. Quote, a critical feature of a reserve currency is its apolitical nature, which Biden is now gutting. After both parties in Washington destroyed the dollar's stability with inflation, now the Biden administration has chosen to wield the dollar as a weapon. Together, these two factors send a message to foreigners, which is they should get out while they still can. In response to Russia's war with the Ukraine, the U.S. froze the dollar reserves of Russia's central bank. To be clear, these were not American assets. These were dollars owned by the Russian central bank and the Russian people. The seizure was intended to cause bank runs and collapse Russia's credit system. It didn't work. Instead, it exposed the Biden administration's willingness to violate the trillions of dollars that foreigners rightfully own. The danger of this precedent is difficult to overstate, end quote. Now, all of us saw that happening, but you couldn't say anything because Russia, bad. We can't even watch their hockey teams. All right. But what do you think happened next as we were jumping up and down and talking about Winston Churchill? Well, smart foreigners, and there are some, believe it or not, started to dump the U.S. dollar. Why? Because the U.S. dollar was no longer a reliable store of value.
All right, we're going to pause it right there, guys. Now, here's the thing. The dollar has been weaponized against other nation states, and now the Treasury, the U.S. Treasury, and the Federal Reserve is going to weaponize what's coming next, their central bank digital currency, and it'll be weaponized against we the people. So as listeners of SGT Report are well aware, we've been warning this was coming for more than a decade. Now, we've suggested moving dollars into physical gold and silver, might be a wise thing to do. That's proven to be true, and it will be true in the months to come. And in 2015, I also began suggesting that dipping a foot into the pool with Bitcoin when it was around $300 might not be a bad idea. Now, several months ago, I interviewed Max Freeman, the founder of another crypto project called Epic.tech. Now, Max believes that Epic is far and away better than Bitcoin. And I bought my first Epic at 78 cents. It promptly fell to 50 cents or so. And today it's sitting at $1.46. Now, before I hit record, Max just told me a statistic that blew my mind. Epic.tech over the past 3 years has been the number 2 top performing cryptocurrency. Now, guys, we are going to talk about ways to protect yourselves from what is coming. The storm is here. Okay, that's no longer deniable. Nation states are moving away from the dollar. Inflation will soon turn into hyperinflation, and then comes the central bank digital currencies, which we cannot comply with. Those must be rejected. So let me welcome my guests. We have Max Freeman on the line and Uncle V. Gentlemen, how are you?
Really well, doing really well. Thank you, Max.
Always a pleasure to come on, Sean. Thank you for your support. So we outperformed gold by 16,000% over the past 3 years. So if you took 1 ounce of your gold stash and bought Epic as a hedge, now that 1% is worth 160% more than the remainder of your pile. We outperformed another standout performer, which is Binance Coin, BNB, by 4x, 400%. We outperformed Ethereum by 1,100%. We outperformed Hedera Hashgraph that Mike Maloney likes by 8,800%. And so we're up against over $1 billion a month in marketing by VC funded token projects that are consuming all the airwaves. We haven't spent more than a few $1,000s on guerrilla marketing type stuff just from the community. We didn't raise any money. We're all volunteers. There's no corporation. We didn't do an ICO, no Premine. So we've been competing against $1 billion a month in resources, doing essentially no marketing because you never get a second chance at a first impression. And we want our stuff to be really ready for prime time before people go and try to, use it. And it's not just a fringe, tech for nerds.
Max, let me jump in. I know how excited you are. And you're the type of guy that once you start going, it's difficult to get you to stop because you love this project. So wait, you only get one chance to make a first impression. So let's start there. What should the first impression be for my audience who is anti-crypto by and large? Most of the folks listening do not like crypto. They hate Bitcoin. They're gold and silver people. So let's start at the very top. What makes Epic.tech special? You just basically said it's decentralized, right? There's no corporation. That's what I like a bit. That's what I like about Bitcoin. There's no CEO. That has people like some of the Congress critters and senators like Elizabeth Warren very confused. And of course, that witch is targeting crypto. So tell us about Epic.tech. Let's just start with why it's important and why my audience should care at all.
Before you do, Max, can I just share a dream?
Please.
I have a dream where people are free to privately buy and sell as they choose with a preferred private peer-to-peer medium of exchange rather than having to pay a war tax to the world banksters on every single surveilled transaction or risk confiscation or even jail time. And I believe that there's now a fundamental eagerness with which the peoples of the world seek to free themselves from the enslaved chains of the Druid Babylonian bastard monetary control systems. That is my opinion. When you ask what's special about Epic.tech, is Epic.tech delivers on the promise of being able to extrapolate and get out of this financial system. So I'll hand it over to Max, but hashtag financial.
Well, let me say something quick. Now, I like what you just said there, and here's what I understand to be true about Epic.tech. There will only ever be 21 million of them, just like Bitcoin. Do I have that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. there's 60 there's 16 million out now. There's 19.2 million BTC, something like that. Over the next 5 years, the supply of Epic and BTC will both go to 20.3 million. So you're facing about a 10% dilution over the next 5 years in BTC. You're facing about a 25% dilution in Epic, but because of the math of network effects, Metcalfe's law and Reed's law, by bringing in millions and potentially billions more people, that juice is worth the squeeze. So the Druid Babylonian bastards, as Uncle calls them, their rent extraction from our commerce as a species on this planet amounted in 2022 to $500,000 a second. So we are poorer by $1.9 trillion a year. That's the figure, according to the McKinsey payments report. You can check it out online, maybe link it in the show notes. So we can save that $500,000 a second by using a form of money and currency that's essentially free. And then also, if you look at the wealth that's stolen due to inflation, due to fractional reserve, due to bailouts, bail-ins, due to moral hazards, due to bridges to nowhere, due to $100 billion for Ukraine and free gender affirming care for children and whatnot, like you can just opt out of paying for all that stuff unless you want to continue to.
Well, listen to the madness too coming out of San Francisco. I mean, they want to give $5 million in reparations to every black citizen who can prove that they were descendants of slaves. So no, we've jumped the shark. This country we've run out of time. Okay. This country is being gutted from within. And for those who don't know that, I know my audience does, spread this far and wide. Spread this far and wide, friends. This is the U.S. national debt clock. It's only getting worse by the second. And we're reaching the point of no return. So crypto, whether you like it or not, I believe is here to stay. Whether Elizabeth Warren likes it or not, it's here to stay. And even if Gary Gensler, who in my view is an absolute criminal who supports the Khazarian mafia, who is there to support the Khazarian mafia, he's a former Goldman Sachs banker who refuses to approve a Bitcoin spot ETF, but did already approve a Bitcoin futures ETF so that they can play with it with their funny money and try to manipulate it. All right. So these are the enemies of humanity. That's what I'm saying. And the Khazarian mafia, I believe they are on borrowed time because the world is waking up, and thank God for that. All right. I'm coming back to my guests. Epic Cash. Explain to me the case use for Epic Cash, because for me, even somebody who's bought some, I have it sitting in a wallet, and I'm doing that because it's a hedge against the dollar. But how in the world has it been the number 2 performing crypto over the past 3 years when not many people, Max, have heard about it?
Right. Yeah. So let me give you an example. So the earthquake in Turkey. Let me send you some pictures for the visuals that you put out. But there were like multiple trucks full of relief supplies that one of our community members named Batuhan, shout out to him and his lovely wife Fatima, who organized a relief effort, and they crowdfunded donations from hundreds of people. I don't remember how much money it was, but like it goes a long way, and it was at the time that was needed. So as a tool of micro payments that are borderless, that are inside of a minute, that cost less than a penny, that are proof of work secured, that nobody can stop. There is no other. The reason Epic has outperformed is because there's no other network that can perform that utility function of serving. There's 3 functions of money: unit of account, store of value, and medium of exchange. And if you really unpack that and look at it from the design dimensions of 27 attributes of the quest for superior money, you go, okay, like this thing is valuable because of not what it is, or like people want to play with it like a Shiba or something, but because of what it can do. You cannot do the functionality of this with any other tech out there.
Sorry, I was Googling something for my next question. I didn't think you'd stop that quickly, Max. You're brilliant.
I've got a little timer. Uncle V sent me these little timers. Yeah, and he's got this little like Rorschach bell, like the Pavlov dog. Max, stop.
God bless you guys. Well, let me ask you guys this then. The adoption of Bitcoin, I think, is really shocking people around the world. People are acquiring Bitcoin and they are using it as a store of value. But I think, and we don't have to get into an anti-Bitcoin conversation here. We can if you want to, but Epic Cash is far more private. Is that true?
Yeah. So if you send me your BTC address, Sean, or Ether, within minutes, I can pull up everything about like where you got your money from, like who sent it to you, where they got it from, when you spend it, like what you spend it on. Everybody can see the cards at everybody else's hands at the poker table. Epic is one.
Remember when we did that with Brian from High Impact Flicks?
Oh yeah, he was horrified. Yeah. Oh my
I
God.
literally took from an email that he sent me. I literally took his Bitcoin deposit address and I sent it to our guys who know how to do this. And boom, we sent back everything to Sean by email, just privately, and his jaw dropped. He could not believe that we had that much information on him.
Well, I know one of the concerns about that too, and it doesn't concern me because I think our government is overtly criminal. So nobody really cares what these criminals say. But one of the problems with Bitcoin would be dirty Bitcoin. I mean, was it used in the Silk Road? Was it used to buy drugs? Was it used in the sex trade? Now, all of that stuff could be fabricated by the powers that be that would target we the people, as they're doing with the president right now. The entire government has been weaponized against we the people, but that is one of the concerns about Bitcoin, isn't it?
Well, so here's a data point. Out of 19 million BTC coins, half went through the Silk Road. And there is court precedent. A federal judge said any coin that went through the Silk Road, it was seized from subsequent recipients that had nothing to do with the Silk Road. So half of BTC coins are one administrative order away from seizure. So let that sink in for a second.
Yeah, I would just say, though, screw this criminal government, because the same could be said about gold. You remember when they said, turn in all your gold, slave? Yeah, I mean, they could do that again, too. But a lot of people just suddenly lost their gold in a boating accident.
Well, but you can't on a transparent ledger, and I'll tell you why. So Coinbase, Binance, Gemini, Kraken, all these exchanges, people have opted into the BTC system through the Beast, intermediaries. And your address is tied to your IP, to your identity. There's something called the travel rule. So it is known who owns all of these coins. The vast majority, I don't have data handy. That would be a good data point to get. But the vast majority are in third-party custody. So if you have an account with Coinbase and they decide to withhold for taxes, in early 2021, there was a proposal to tax crypto on unrealized gains quotes. So like if you're a homeowner, my property tax went up 14% last year, and before that it was 7%, and before that was 6%. They can just pick any number they want. And in South Korea, they directly debit your crypto exchange holdings for the taxes that they believe you owe. In Europe, they outlawed or on the cusp of outlawing so-called self-hosted wallets. You have to custody your crypto assets with financial institutions. I could go on, but basically, I wanted to just touch back on, like you talked about the finances of our great nation. You showed a number of 31 trillion on the screen, but we know from the analysis of like Catherine Austin Fitts and Mark Skidmore, the missing trillions and whatnot, it's over 200 trillion. And so, what it used to be, like I have a Federal Reserve note, I can get 1/35 of an ounce of gold as long as I'm a foreign central bank by presenting it to the Fed, and maybe they'll give me my gold. Maybe I have to send Charles de Gaulle style a warship to New York Harbor to grab my gold, but at least there's gold there theoretically. They'll find it from somewhere. Now, what is backing these liabilities? Well, it's the promise to extract more than that number from us as a population at the point of a gun. In the future. So, like if you go to the website WTFhappenedin1971.com, or look at the work of John Williams at ShadowStats and look at just how brazenly we've all been robbed for decades and generations. I mean, it's just like, I'm a frog, you're a frog, we're sitting here in this pot and it's getting hotter 1 degree at a time. Like, should we jump out yet? Nah, let's give it a little more time.
Well, and to add injury to insult, the criminal Biden administration has just proposed $4.7 trillion in new taxes in the land of the free and the home of the brave. Give me a break. Right. So our corporate government is completely run by criminals, which is why we have a puppet president, and they're targeting their opposition. Uncle V, what say you about any of this so far? And by the way, Epic Cash, again, I want you guys on to inform the audience, because everybody needs to have a hedge to protect them and their families from what's coming. But Epic Cash, not easy to buy. I can't buy it via Coinbase. How does one even buy it? Okay.
Can you buy BTC? Can you acquire BTC? Can anybody acquire BTC? The answer is yes. It's not that hard. And from there, it's one send away to the Veet multi-wallet exchange. And it's actually a great little exchange. So the people who say that it's just really, really difficult, I mean, my goodness, I can do it. And maybe I should just give a little bit of a context. Go ahead, Max, if you.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Just, but I think, Sean, you're saying, well, I can't buy it on Coinbase and it's not on any exchange. Well, okay. That's a feature, not a bug in many ways. When you go to Coinbase, okay, if you send fiat to Coinbase to buy your BTC, they're going to hold your money for 11 days. You can go to Kraken and get your money held for 6 days, or you could pay 15% through some kind of like Shark type instant exchange broker, or find somebody to buy or whatnot. Paxful just got shut down 2 days ago, so this Operation Choke Point thing is really decimating the infrastructure that people use to on ramp and off ramp. But the market the market finds a way. So VTEX is a cross-chain DEX. So when you get your BTC, you're depositing it to your non-custodial wallet under your control with the seed words, and you're directly chain to chain pulling out Epic like from BTC. Now in the future, you're going to be able to have the Epic chain talk to the BTC chain directly through atomic swap and without going to Veet. Also in May, there's an up and coming Asian exchange out of Singapore called CoinStore that has about 1 million users a month, mainly in emerging markets, that is working with our developers right now to add us. And also an instant swap service called Change Now, where you'll be able to one tap away from Doge, from Shiba, from Tether, from Circle, from 800 of the top crypto assets will be one tap away, not just through the Epic Pay mobile wallet, but through the desktop wallet through buyepiccash.com. You could set up the SGT report like Buy Epic Store, and like with a couple lines of code, offer people Epic for direct purchase through your website. And we've got the ecosystem to help you do that. So comparing a decentralized non-custodial exchange that doesn't have the censorship, the control, the surveillance, the embedded nastiness of these alternatives, you're really comparing apples to orangutans. And Bittrex USA just shut down, Poloniex got whacked, Kraken got whacked. I mean, everybody who's everybody is under like active like I know.
Well, Gensler's coming after Coinbase too, because Gensler's a criminal, and I really despise the man. He was the head of the CFTC. He did nothing to rein in the paper manipulation of silver and gold by criminal banks. He did nothing. Now he's the head of the SEC, and what's he doing? He's targeting crypto. And you're right, Operation Choke Point. They're trying to destroy crypto. Why? Because this cartel is desperate to retain control of their fiat printing presses around the world. And frankly, thank God people are waking up. And thank God for crypto. I mean, I think it's an idea whose time has come, but not a CBDC crypto. We don't want a central
that's not a crypto
digital currency that's issued by these same criminals. So wait, though, I just want to say this. I asked you how to buy it, and I'm a guy who's been in crypto. I bought my first Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. back in 2015. Obviously, I'm an idiot compared to you guys, but you just lost me. Uncle V, make it easier. Max just said a bunch of stuff that I think makes Epic Cash probably pretty great, but I still don't know how to buy it. And I'm just saying that on behalf of my audience. These are lay people that do not understand crypto or how to buy it. And Max, what you just said, frankly, it doesn't sound any easier than what I thought.
Buyepiccash.com. Buy, B-U-Y, epiccash.com. Also, there's a help desk on Telegram, t.me/epiccash help desk, where there's 540 people in there, volunteers 24/7. I'm going to send you Sky King's info, so he'll help you. There's people that will, for $20 an hour in Epic or whatever their rate is, help you get set up with Linux, help you get set up with cold storage, with whatnot. I mean, the people who have been in our boat for years are increasingly going, well, I haven't checked my portfolio in 6 months. Holy smokes. I threw $500 at this and now I have like a car. I should probably protect this. What do I do? So there it is. But if you think about it, okay, why is Epic $20 million market cap and not $20 billion market cap? Not if, but when it's easier to buy, and everybody can access it. And like, there's all these, alternatives. You're not going to be looking at $2 Epic. You're going to be looking at, something closer to like a Monero, valuation, which is $200 an Epic. There's only one other network that has those transactional privacy features like Epic does. Any serious network anyway. There's some kind of failed, dead ones that we don't need to dignify with a mention. But when we get to the Monero market cap, not if, but when, that's $200 a coin. And a lot of that has to do with the accessibility. So Coinbase is never, ever going to add Epic. Crypto.com is never going to add Epic. Kraken, none of the, Kraken maybe, but basically these guys have written it into their business policies that any asset with confidentiality features, even if optional, they're not going to touch it. And so to access that, to crack open that blue ocean market, what we have to do is wrap, and I know I'm going to lose people here, but basically you can wrap your Epic coins into tokens and stick them in a transparent, thing to get in there. But that's like next year, or later this year, not this year. So you want to be on the leading edge or wait till it's expensive?
Can I just dumb it down? Because I have to dumb things down so that I'll understand it. And maybe just a little bit of background. I started in 2020 a channel called the Uncle Odd channel. Now my channel is called the Uncle Vigilante channel. And that's where I unapologetically cover Epic Cash. I have over 500 hours of content relating to Epic Cash. And but I didn't start in crypto. I started in the truth movement in early 2020 when the boogie virus became a thing. I started talking about how it was just absolute BS. They hijacked flu season and rebranded it. I ended up getting censored and canceled 7 times during 2020. I had gotten up to over 10,000 subscribers and they just kept chopping me out at the knees. So then 2021 hit and I'm like, you know what? I can't do anything under my Uncle Odd channel. I'm just like, I'm shadow banned all the time. So I decided I was going to start talking about crypto because somebody told me in January, hey, Uncle Odd, you got to invest in XRP. And I'm like, what's XRP? And they said crypto. I'm like, and I was 57 at the time. And I'm like, I know nothing about it. And so I thought, you know what? I like YouTube. Maybe they'll let me talk about crypto. So I started the channel dedicated to crypto newbies. So your audience that you just referenced, they have my heart. Crypto newbies is how I started, and I just documented my journey. How in the heck do you get fiat from your bank into an exchange? I would go through the process. We would hold each other's hands, and then over that 6 months, I ended up getting pretty good at it. And that was a time frame. 2021, the first half, where you couldn't do anything wrong in crypto. I thought I was a freaking genius. And so then I thought, you know what? I'm going to start subscribing to all these newsletters and have everybody tell me what to think. And then I realized what the real game is out there. It's these pump and dump scams to where you have these services that'll tell you what to buy, but before they tell you in this subscriber base, they pre-acquire it, and then they set up these sell walls within the exchange. And on the day that you that they announce it, everybody goes in and they just buy right into their sell wall, and that's what funds Mexican ranches. Anybody can read into that what they wish. So I decided, you know what? Screw this.
I got that reference. I
decided
I love tacos.
I'm not going to let anybody tell me what to think anymore. And I was determined to find what are the right questions for me to ask to discern whether this was an investable coin or not. And I went through that and I got my baker's dozen. And then I put out to the world any project out there, especially if you're a privacy project. You can come on my show and I'm going to conduct a shitcoin trial. I'm going to start by declaring you a shitcoin and giving you 45 minutes to be able to convince me otherwise. And so I had about 3 different, projects come on. And then I get this message from this Max Freeman guy saying, yeah, I'm the founder of the Epic Cash protocol. I'd love to come and talk. And I'm like, okay. And so, and I'll send you a link to it, Sean. Maybe you can include it in your show notes. But sure. It's the Epic Cash shitcoin trial, and when people watch it, you will see what went from what I intended to be a 45-minute shitcoin trial where I'm dressed in one of these wigs, like a judge, and I had my gavel and everything, and I declared Max a shitcoin. Well, within 15 minutes of Max answering my questions, I took off my silly wig, I put it down, I put down my gavel, I got my paper and pen, and I went into student mode. And that 45 minutes became, Sean, 2.5 hours. And I had gotten more education from Max in 2.5 hours than I had the whole 6 months prior. So I asked him if he'd join my show again the next week and the next week. And it just became a thing. And the more and more I started understanding the fundamentals of Epic Cash and how it is really about financial freedom for the masses and the positive attributes of Epic Cash, which I didn't know. I mean, my gosh, I'm 2 years into this, Sean, and I still feel like I'm such a novice. But I do understand the importance of decentralization, fungibility, immutability, scalability, being regulatory compatible so the SEC doesn't tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, you're a security and you're screwed. I understand confiscation resistance, privacy protection, censorship resistance, scarcity, permissionless, trustlessness. I understand all of those now. And Epic Cash has all of those. And so I ended up pivoting. I had 25 crypto assets. I pivoted them all to Epic Cash. I cashed in my whole life insurance policies, my IRA, my 401k, and totally went 100% into Epic Cash. And you might say that's the craziest thing anyone could do. But guess what? I started that 2 years ago. And what did you say, Max? We're up 2,000% year over year. I benefited nicely from it. And we are so undiscovered. Nobody knows about us, but we're about to make this huge introduction to the world because of our Epic Pay wallet, because of our coin store integration, because of our Change Now integration into our Epic Pay wallet. And we have a halving in June. And if you know anything about Bitcoin, you know that when they have halvings, it's number go up technology.
Well, wait, Uncle V, you just pulled a Max on me, man, because you're as passionate about this as he is. So, let me just say, so, all right, Bitcoin. All right, so you guys have something in common here. Maybe you've modeled this thing exactly like Bitcoin with the 21 million in the halvings. I think the next Bitcoin halving is in June 2024. So let me ask you, given that reference that you made, which I think is funny, some of the folks know who you're talking about, but let's talk about Pirate Chain, Monero. The pitch there is that these are privacy coins. What makes, no, wait. So Epic Cash. Oh, let me ask, all right, you know where I'm going there. So we're going to talk about privacy, but let me ask you this first. One of the benefits to Bitcoin, in my opinion, would be this Satoshi Nakamoto thing, no centralized CEO, no corporate office. But in this case, hang on. In this case, we have Max, who's the founder. My listeners might be thinking, well, I don't really want to get behind this if Max has 10 million of the coins. So how does this work? And are we concerned about Max being the founder? Of course, by the way, every crypto has a founder except for Bitcoin. And
so it's easy to especially if you only do a topical survey level. So if you think Uncle is passionate, there's hundreds of us. There's over 300 people that are as fervent about this as Uncle is and I am. There's a truck driving grandmother in Missouri called the Mother Trucker, who probably puts in 16 hours a day, like while she's driving her big rig. She's in there helping people and coaching. There's about 30 small businesses from Nigeria to Turkey to India to Philippines to Thailand, you name it. Epic is an engine of opportunity. There is no head of the snake. We don't have a Vitalik. We don't have a Satoshi. I just got lucky. Right place, right time. Satoshi mined 1.2 million or acquired whatever. Yeah, I think it was through mining. Yeah, Satoshi mined 1.2 million of the 21 million, but that's kind of a head fake because there's a forensic analysis, and I'm going to turn on my timer so I don't go too low or too long, but there's a forensic analysis that this PhD put together that shows that over 60% of the coins in BTC were accumulated by just like 64 people, I think it was. or 64 addresses, and that's probably controlled by multiple people. Most of the coins came out in the very early days when nobody knew about it. So how did we protect against that? So first of all, I don't need much. You can only eat so much food. I'm here to create a better world, not become a trillionaire or billionaire or whatnot. Like I went to school with spoiled rich kids that like unearned wealth ruined their lives. So I have a really unique view on that. I started an e-commerce company currently called Toner.com Group out of my dorm room at Stanford in '99, and basically, worked 100 hours a week, scrimping and saving, living below my means for decades. So, I'm not doing this for the money. Satoshi, that 1.2 million kind of like created an upper ceiling where, we said it's so imperative. If you read the white paper, we said maintaining decentralization is so important that we're going to pull out all the stops. So what did we do? We published a test net 5 months ahead of the mainnet launch. Mainnet launch was September 2019, and we screamed from the rooftops 5 months before to get people in. So there were thousands of mining like cards right from the beginning. You could mine with a Mac, you could mine with Windows, you could mine with Linux. And so we just did our best to make sure that we promoted that wide distribution. Uncle had to buy all his coins from the open market, just like I did, just like everyone else did. We have a fair and level playing field. So I don't have 10 million coins, not even close. The number one holders that we know about, I think there's one guy with 700,000, maybe six. I think there's some others with north of six figures and so on. So the SEC actually owns 25% of Dogecoin supply. I don't know if you noticed that leaked memo, but Gensler's got some explaining to do of why they have like 10 times the coins of Elon Musk, which is really interesting. That's an actual data point. Vitalik and his buddies, who are all now billionaires, pre-mined 70% of all the Ether when the network started and gave them themselves for free. So, that's not a level and fair playing field. That's meet the new master, same as the old master. And so we took extreme steps and continue to through things like with the hard forks, changing the distribution of mining algorithms to say, okay, now there's 2 billion GPUs that just got thrown off the Ethereum network with the move of proof of stake. We should adjust our hash rate and feed them more. So we bring in their mining power. We're working on mobile mining solutions, set top boxes, getting into the data center with AI TPU chips, mining on your hard disk with proof of space time. We've got, the way we look at it is we've got the next 5 years to bring in millions and hopefully billions of people into the front end of the network through mining, with our polyphasic proof of work multi-algorithm setup we can do. That's unique, by the way, that we created that. It's open source so others can take it, but the market kind of doesn't like proof of stake right now. So that's the long answer. The short answer is we've thought about this and how to protect against it. And it's like, we hear what you say, but we see what you do. And we've been very consistent from the beginning. You should link to the first interview I ever did with Danny Axton of the Crypto Show back in 2019. And you'll notice a consistency over, hundreds and thousands of subsequent communications, written and online. And we've never wavered even 1 degree from the promises we set out in the white paper.
Let me ask you guys this, and I do want you to talk about privacy, Uncle V, but Dogecoin and Elon Musk, I didn't know about that data point. You can flush that out further. That's amazing to me. You said Gary Gensler, it was at the SEC, they own Dogecoin. Yeah. Let's talk about that's insane. But wait, I think it's really funny that Elon Musk can buy Twitter and promote a shitcoin like Dogecoin, which I think the supply is infinite. I'm not sure. We could talk about that. Certainly that's the case with Shiba Inu. They say now they're burning coins or whatever, but I think it's funny that Elon can put, did you guys notice he put the little Doge symbol? Yeah. So when you go to Twitter now, it's the first thing you see when you want to log in or you want to tweet. And I think that sort of self-promotion is a bit of a conflict of interest. When we talk 100%. About crypto, we don't want people to get hurt. So again, infinite supply versus, in this case, 21 million, just like Bitcoin. There will never be more than 21 million Epic Cash. I think that. Oh, and by the way, I want to say I'm not being paid for this interview. You've given me nothing for this interview. I wanted to get you guys on to talk about this because the dollar is melting down. the days of reckoning are here. So that's why we're having this
Well,
conversation.
you bought your coins with your own money. I mean, this is a perfect
I spent
example of our model.
$3,500. Yeah, I spent $3,500 of my own money to buy. I think at the time I got 5,000 Epic. Right around there.
So Dogecoin has an infinite supply, and the current supply is 138 billion. Now, 138 billion versus 16 million. So, right there, like the math is hard, but it doesn't take a genius to understand, the scarcity there. Anyway, Elon Musk pumped the value of Dogecoin by $2 billion with sticking that there. And when somebody questioned Twitter about like, hey, why did you do this? Their response was a poop icon. So that is the level of infantile, lowness that we've descended to. Make of that what you will. But that's what we're up against. People think crypto is a way to get more dollars. Not an escape from the system, not a tool of commerce. The goal is I buy it, the number goes up, and then I sell it for more dollars. That is like, the early days of adoption of the industry. But when you can crowdfund entrepreneurship, literacy, clean water, reforestation, health efforts. There's a kid in Africa who needed a surgery that money was raised. There's a guy that got a new wheelchair. Solar projects for orphanages in Mexico. I mean, this sounds hokey and feel good, and like, oh yeah, this is kind of like suspicious if they're doing all that good stuff. But no, it just reflects the heart-centric motivation of what we're doing in a field of get rich quick grifters. Shout out to Mexico and tacos and chihuahuas. We are not that. So if you want to talk about privacy, there are three basic privacy approaches, and privacy and anonymity are different. They're conflated and they're both important. But if you want to talk about that, there are three approaches. Monero had an approach from Bitcoin that was created in 2014 called Crypto Note that uses ring signatures. Then Zcash in 2016 came out with something called zero knowledge proofs. There's 100 different types of zero knowledge proofs known as ZK Snark and ZK Starks. And these are like 100-page math constructions that only like a dozen PhDs in the world can understand. And then you've got Mimblewimble. Mimblewimble was a theoretical cryptography breakthrough first posited by an anonymous author named Tom Elvis Jedusor in 2016. And then it took 3 years for that to get out into the wild. And in 2019, when we first launched, there were 28 projects, 28 teams that recognized, as we did, the power of Mimblewimble and chose to go to market. Since then, they've all died. We're the only ones that have lasted. Some of them tried to do the pump and dump thing. Some of them tried to do, there's this Israeli one called Bean that raised a bunch of VC money and paid Binance and other influencers to go and pump it. They briefly got up to $100 million. So the story, there's trade-offs to these different approaches that will probably be way too technical for the audience. But basically, with all three of those, if I send you a transaction in Ether, everybody can see that transaction and everybody can see everything about it for the end of time. So if I pay the baker for a loaf of bread, our wallets are connected. It's like you have a one-night stand in a bar, and then you have a kid with this person and you're tied together for life. Or an STD or something might be a more apt comparison because we're talking about Ethereum. But so in the case of Pirate Chain, let's go back to Monero. So Monero is a high-quality project. It's valued at $3 billion. It is available on Kraken. It's available on tons of exchanges. It's a mature network at this point with 9 years of history behind it. Epic is a less than 4-year network. Now, Pirate Chain is a fork of Zcash. Zcash invented the cryptography technique, but they chose to do it as an optional thing where 99.1% of Zcash transactions are actually just BTC transactions. They're fully transparent. And then less than 1% of users, if they jump through a bunch of complicated hoops, they can opt into the privacy. But if you go, hey, I'm walking into this bank with a motorcycle helmet on, carrying my AK-47, people are going to find you suspicious because you're like, you've obviously got something to hide versus like, HTTPS on your website protects your credit card number so nobody can take it. That's not necessarily nefarious. So there's three approaches to privacy that if you and I do a transaction, nobody else can see the address, nobody else can see the amount, and only you and I can see the details of that transaction and no other. So that's how it works. We can get into the specifics of how they approach that, but that would probably be way over the heads. You got to put in your 10,000 hours.
Sean,
Yeah.
can I dumb things down a little bit?
Sure, yeah, please. Because one question I have too is, when I hear people say Monero is the privacy coin, well, that's probably not true if you're buying it via Coinbase, right?
Well, Coinbase doesn't have it, but so
I didn't know
got
that.
news. So I got news for you. If you think Monero it is like a thing that is going to protect you, if you're doing whatever you want to, hide on that. But basically, the way Monero works is let's say you and Uncle V do a transaction, then it's mixed together with 15 other ones. So you have a ring of 16 participants. And the idea is like a shell game, Manhattan, New York City, you have the cups and the marble under it, and you move them around. You're like, okay, you can't see which of these really was me. So catch me if you can, Johnny Law. I'm the gingerbread man, like plausible deniability. You can't pin this on me. Okay, ha ha ha. But what happens is, since a lot of the use case for Monero, I would say like the vast majority of the use case of Monero is for darknet markets, and darknet markets are compromised constantly. And so if you are involved with a transaction and another user gets their key compromised through whatever way, or is metadata linked in any kind of way, then your privacy just went down from 16 to 15 to 14 to 13 to 12, and the data is stored in the chain forever. Epic uses a technique called cut through, where basically it refreshes the ownership of the coins, or the history of the coins. They're essentially melted down and recreated every time they're spent. And you can do that sequentially. So the corresponding privacy figures, that like the max privacy that you can get in Epic today is a so-called anonymity set of 1,000, which is over 60 times the anonymity set of Monero, and it doesn't degrade over time. And the actions of other users don't harm your privacy. You can get higher theoretical privacy up into the millions with Pirate Chain, but if you only look at the blockchain piece of it and not look at the other options to identify you, if you were the only Pirate Chain user in Kazakhstan, well, they know who you are. So, these niche technologies that are kind of like intellectual curiosities don't really get you there. And also the intent. The only reason you would use a Pirate Chain or a Monero or some of these are like really expensive, like overkill type privacy tools, is if you really want to hide something. Whereas Epic, I want a form of Bitcoin that has 21 million supply, protected by proof of work, that costs me 1 cent to send in 1 minute, and I have privacy so that if I want to donate to Canadian truckers, I can't lose my financial accounts and my home and be prosecuted as a terrorist. And I don't want my neighbors to know how much money I have, like the guy in Russia that got beat nearly to death because people discovered that he had 250 BTC. I mean, there's all kinds of issues around this, privacy and anonymity dimension. And so we say that Epic is not a privacy coin. It's a coin that needs to be scalable and needs to be fungible, or else it cannot serve its intended function. And so the people that are using Epic, that are crowdfunding reforestation and African surgeries and bake sales and small businesses that, don't have thousands of dollars and millions of dollars to participate in the existing, gatekeeper Babylonian economy, they're not doing that because they're nefarious. Cryptocurrency, less than 1% of transactions are nefarious. If you include all the Monero, all the ransomware, all the stuff like that. So, the talk about like this is money for terrorists is just simply nonsense, and unsupported by the facts.
Sean,
right.
Can I dumb things down?
Yeah. With an eye on the clock. Yeah, I think Max's timer broke. With an eye on the clock, guys, we've got about 10 minutes left. Yeah. If we need to go 15, that's fine. But I did just get a question. I texted my buddy Chris, who is interested in this project. I'm not sure if he ever bought any or not, but I asked him if he has any questions for you guys. He says, "Why is now the time for Epic, even over Bitcoin? And do you think Epic will withstand the apparent assault on all of the altcoins? And yes. And will it be there for the long haul? If so, why?" But before we go there, Uncle V, whatever you wanted to say, Go for it.
Thank you. I think it's really important. Again, I spend a lot of time communicating Epic Cash to newbies, people who are new to my channel, new to Epic Cash. They all end up coming and binge watching some of my videos. So I've become expert in actually talking to people where they're at. And I think that it's very, very important to just first of all understand the basics of Epic Cash. And the one that I like the best is to say, Satoshi, he's the one who created Bitcoin. If Satoshi Nakamoto could, hit Control Alt Delete and do a do-over today, if he could go back in time and do a do-over of Bitcoin based upon today's advanced technology and the learnings of the past 12 years, he would have designed and launched Epic Cash. Let me start there. Epic Cash is the original Bitcoin standard, updated with the revolutionary Mimblewimble protocol, which ensures complete anonymity, scalability, and fungibility. It is how Satoshi would have designed Bitcoin, having access to 2019 Mimblewimble technology. So think of BTC as HTTP Bitcoin, right? And think of Epic Cash as HTTPS Bitcoin, as in secure Bitcoin. And it's really important to be able to understand that, because if you think about Bitcoin, I need you to visualize going into the restroom in an airport. And let's say that you have to go into the restroom, and I'm sorry, Sean, but you just have to go number 2. So you go into the stall. With BTC, your door is see-through. With Epic Cash, it's opaque. It's a door like you're used to. Because what? Why? Because we deserve our privacy. I don't know what drives me freaking nuts is the Druid Babylonian bastards seem to paint privacy as something negative. BS. It is my God-given right to be private however I want. It is my God-given right to be able to engage in commerce with you. If I want to do it by credit card, that's my choice. But if I want to pay by cash, that's my choice too. I shouldn't have to have the banksters say, no, you can't use your cash. You have to convert that to CBDCs so that we can see everything that you can do. We can see you going number 2 in the public restroom. So that's where, financial freedom for me is where it's at. And you talked about, the price of your friend gave a question. I just want to say that Mimblewimble is an amazing technology. And I want to share that we are going through a point of price discovery right now. At the point in time that everything is so easy peasy, you are not going to find Epic Cash at under $2. I just want to ask you, Sean, you talk a lot about being able that you started talking about Bitcoin at $300. We are more.
Well, let me just say, too, I'm sorry to interrupt. I started talking about Bitcoin when it was below $50, and I'd have brother John F. on, who was a big silver and gold guy, but he also had the integrity and the intelligence to explore Bitcoin. He started buying Bitcoin. He took a lot of heat for it from the precious metals only crowd. And to his credit, he was an early adopter. I don't know what happened to brother John F. I don't know if he still got his Bitcoin. I remember watching an episode with him on his channel of the Mt. Gox meltdown in real time. And at that time, he thought Bitcoin had gone to zero. He didn't realize that was just Mt. Gox. But anyway, It took me a long time to get my mind around Bitcoin and to even explore the idea of buying some. And when it retraced from the all-time high of like 2,000 or whatever it was, maybe it went 1,000, came back down to 2,300. That's when I said, look, I think it will go back to that all-time high, perhaps beyond. Then it went to 20,000. So I'm a late adopter in 2015. I could have been buying Bitcoin in 2013.
That's well, with any asset, there's an unknown period of price discovery. And during price discovery, those exercising the muscle of, actually diving into the shallow end head first and acquiring, combined with delayed gratification, those are the people who almost always financially win. So we're at a point right now to where Epic Cash is more Bitcoin than Bitcoin. It's private Bitcoin, if you will. And we're at under $2. Our technology. The design is number go up technology. It's absolutely brilliant. And we were, Sean, I don't know if you know this, but we were at the end of 2021, we had gotten up to $6.85 before the crypto winter and the retrace that everyone experienced. But if you think about that as our previous all-time high, and you know how this works with number go up technology, like with Bitcoin and the design, is when I give somebody one Epic Cash coin, I literally in my mind believe I'm giving them $1,000 of future value, because I know where the puck is going, not where the puck is right now, but we skate to where the puck is going. And that's why I am just so, enthusiastic about this project, because over the last 2 years, I don't think there's anybody who's put more time and effort into trying to understand it, again, to a level that I'll get it, which is kind of a heavy lift, Sean.
Yeah.
But once I do, it's like I can't stop talking about it, because I really do believe that it's financial freedom for the masses.
Yeah, you've got your 10,000 hours in. That makes you an expert. And look, I think that there are experts out there, people that I believe are experts in Bitcoin. And boy, I know I'm opening a can of worms here with just a few minutes left in our conversation, but Max Kaiser, Michael Saylor, these guys proselytize the benefits of Bitcoin. And but here on the other hand, we have Max Freeman and Uncle V proselytizing the benefits of Epic Cash. I guess elevator pitch, sure. Elevator pitch for my audience. Why Epic Cash? Why now? And why Epic Cash over Bitcoin, Ethereum, or anything else?
Max, I'll give that to you, but I want to make one comment here. Is we had thought that we were going to do this interview to where we had prepared a 27-minute video that we thought we would go through, but you know your audience better than anyone, and you're like, they would hang up. So we're gonna talk to you guys live, but you are gonna link to that video which compares Bitcoin to Epic Cash, and it is like getting a PhD in the analysis. A lot of work went into that video just for you and your audience. So I really, really hope everyone takes the 27 minutes. You will learn more about Bitcoin and its design and where it's going, or where it may not be going, than you would after just reading and watching a bunch of YouTube stuff for the last year. Okay, with that, Max.
Okay. So we're talking about store of value. We're talking about medium of exchange, being able to pay anyone, anywhere, anytime, any amount, any reason. I'm going to flip my thing so I don't go too long. On a store of value, what I would say to Max Kaiser, Michael Saylor, people like that, please come on my podcast, the DNA of Bitcoin podcast. I've interviewed Saifedean Ammous, Robert Breedlove, Mark Cuban, and a dozen high-level guests talking about what is the DNA of Bitcoin in preparation for the forthcoming book. So if they have the courage to step into the ring, absolutely. I offered 10,000 coins, 10,000 Epic coins as a bounty to whoever could get Michael Saylor to engage, because he's lying to 2.9 million people every day, and that doesn't sit right with me. So we've outperformed BTC by 5,000% over 3 years. If you took one BTC out of your stash and put it in Epic as a hedge, now you have 50 BTC.
Sorry, I have to jump in. You just called Michael Saylor a liar, so you're going to have to flesh that out just a bit. Why is he a liar?
Okay, because he has Saylor University, and he's teaching people about this stuff, and he goes on podcasts for 3 hours at a time talking about how you should mortgage your house and go in on leverage and do this and that, and just turn your brain off and hodl. I'd like to send you a link to a tweet where he says one BTC is one BTC. And then, you're censored and shadow banned, and you're trying to tell people, well, no, Michael, that's not how it works. Fungibility is a thing. You talk about all these other things, but like, where's the beef on fungibility? And so there's a level of I call it a wealth transfer from the cynical, from the credulous to the cynical. So I won't say anything more. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Talk about rehypothecation real quick, because when you talk about, Sean, that we're like Bitcoin, the same 21 million, it's not the same 21 million. Just like gold and gold certificate, they're different. Go ahead, Max.
Yep, absolutely. So also in terms of store of value, a barrel of crude oil costs 51 Epic coins today. 3 years ago, it cost 3,600 Epic coins. So you get 90, or like you get 100 times more oil than you did 3 years ago. We outperformed Ethereum by 1,100%. We outperformed XRP by 5,700%. So if the function of money is to store value over time, this ounce of gold bought a toga in Roman times, and now it buys a suit today. That's a pretty good store of value. Better than a cowrie shell or a rye stone or a tally stick or something. Epic is objectively way better. You can pay anyone around the globe in under a penny in under a minute for under a penny privately, and nobody can stop you. Nobody can geofence you. Nobody can retaliate against you, and that's unique among every communications network, not just blockchain based, in the world. So the value is there. People just don't have the eyes to see. And then as far as unit of account, there are around 500 trillion of fiats, depending on how you look at it. Then if you look at the derivatives complex and hidden off book stuff, it gets into the quadrillions. And so how many there's the Fed balance sheet, the M1 currency supply is like 21 trillion right now in the US, or 18 or something like that. I think it got up to 22 and then it dipped a little. So how many tens of trillions more are there going to be in 5 years? I don't know, but I know 100% there's going to be only 4 million more Epic coins that come out. The Epic network is most reliable in all of crypto, the most predictable. It served up blocks 100% perfection since April 2021. So if this heart has beaten a million times in a row like a metronome, and it gets cheaper to operate, it gets more secure, it gets faster, it gets more scalable, it just gets better. Like BTC is stuck in 2009. Monero can't upgrade. Ethereum is a great first generation design, but technology moves on. And so you have these cartel forces that are trying to restrict competition. Like Scam Bank Fraud Man was going and trying to lobby regulators against his competition.
Yeah, Gensler. He had Gensler in his back pocket too.
And so if you look at it crazily enough, you could say, oh, well, powers that be aren't going to like private money. That could be very disruptive. Well, guess what? Gary Gensler wants to kill off all other cryptos and said only those that follow the Bitcoin design are commodities. Yep. And if we talk to Bainum over at the CFTC, which they don't care, that like we're just a little shitcoin. Nobody cares about us. But when there is that recognition, it'll be like, wait, out of 23,000 entrepreneur groups that said these laws are inconvenient, we're not going to follow them. We're going to say there's lack of clarity. No, they've been clear since 1933 and 34. You just don't like the answers. And so we had the courage, the foresight, the wisdom, the grit, the moxie, the whatever to make this happen. And so, yes, we are going to survive. We are going to win. Epic is not going to be the top 10 coin. Our overall stack of assets, the overall subway map, as we call it, that is like money Legos kits. There's 16 of them, will comprise the entire top 10. And I mean that quite literally.
Max, can you please just discuss rehypothecation? Because I got it.
Yep.
There are 49 to 60 or
44 to 50. There's 44 to 50 million effective supply. Okay. because the
what are you talking about? Are you talking about Bitcoin?
Yes.
Yeah.
How can that be possible? How can that be possible? So I have Bitcoin. My Bitcoin are in cold storage. Okay, they live on a Trezor. So
you're 1% of the population.
You're 1% of the population.
Oh, you're saying that the exchanges have hypothecated and rehypothecated.
Yeah. So if I'm a hedge fund, I can go to an exchange, I can go to a financial institution, I can go to a custodian, and say, hey, I want to get directional exposure to the underlying asset. Let me pay you 8% a year and borrow yours. Yeah. So I'm an exchange. I have 1 million coins there. I know that I can safely lend out 900,000 and keep 100,000 in the case of withdrawals. Now I'm earning 8% a year, fractionally reserving 900,000 BTC, and I get to manipulate the market, because if I'm CZ at Binance, and I think he's one of the good guys. In fact, CZ, if you're hearing this, you're too busy, probably not. But if you ever do, I respect the hell out of you, my man. You're doing God's work in the face of serious opposition. So Binance holds 1-to-1 reserves. Coinbase claims to, but there's ways to cross leverage and stuff. And so maybe but like there's 1,000 exchanges, and I would say 90+% are fractionally reserving, usually close to 100%. You have
that with good data because of the guy reference that.
Yeah. So There's a fund coming together called EDH, the Epic Diamond Hands Fund, where to make it easy for institutions and high net worth investors that don't want to go through those hoops, if you can afford to pay $1 million or more, then like a Vanguard, low cost index tracker model for anywhere between 0.1% to 1% a year versus 2% and more for the rest of the hedge fund industry. It's kind of a self-service, just buy it and forget it in cold storage thing. That's going to be like a very high voltage pipe for capital coming.
I'm the only one that gets to interrupt him, Sean, but I can appreciate more than most that you have a deadline here. Max, just tell the name of this person that gave you the.
So
there's credibility there.
Yes. Okay. So this is Chris Sullivan of Hyperion Decimus on the DNA of Bitcoin podcast. He's going to be working with the EDH fund. He is the number 1, 2, or 3 market maker on like basically all the top world exchanges. And he did over 1 million on-chain BTC transactions last year. He basically arbitrages the price spread between the CME and Kraken and Binance and Gemini. He's a high frequency algorithmic trader that does market making. So he has really good data that's business critical for him.
All right, very good. So just to recap here, and we can go a little bit longer if we need to. I know we're going long here, guys, but I'd assume the audience that's still with us actually really cares about this information. So by the way, I'll leave that video, the 27-minute video is linked below so you guys can learn all the differences between Epic Cash and Bitcoin. And really the point there is to learn about Epic Cash. Again, not financial advice. Do your own due diligence, but the dollar's melting down, guys. The writing's on the wall. Hyperinflation is on its way. Like it or not, it's going to get ugly because these Marxists, these Bolsheviks, these American Bolsheviks that I like to call them, they are going to burn down cities when the shit hits the fan because they're already violent. They're already prone to violence. And they've got it really good because we still have the dollar as world's reserve currency. Once that no longer is the case and all these dollars come back home and hyperinflation hits, these people are going to lose their minds. So you need to be prepared financially, spiritually, and of course with food stores, water, etc. All right, so the market cap right now is $20 million. Do I have that right? Because by my math, to get to $1 billion market cap, we're looking at a 50 bagger, right? So how does this thing get to $1 billion market cap and
Let me
beyond?
tell you. Yeah, let me tell you. Okay, so let me first give you briefly, let me do my timer over here. Fundamentally, it comes from the scarcity. BTC, when it started, was putting out, 50 coins per block. And then after a year, it went down to 25 coins per block. And then it went to 12.5 coins per block. And now it's 6.25. And so BTC has had 3 prior halvings. From November 8th, 2012, over the course of a year, it went up 85% from $12 to $1,032. Epic's first halving, so we started in 2019 versus 2009, and we're going to catch up by 2028. So imagine a curve that gently tucks in the first 9 years of Epic matched up to the first 19 years of BTC. So their first halving was 1 year, ours was 10 months, and they returned 8,500%. We returned 12,000%. Okay, so we're using that like proven flight profile of the Boeing 747 just with upgraded engines that are more fuel efficient to say, all right, this is the same basic plane just with different air processing to fuel ratio and stuff. So it's just basic logic. So the second halving of BTC was up 4,200%. So from 465 to 19,666. This is supply inelastic. If the price of gold doubles, people are going to produce more gold. If the price of Epic and BTC doubles, you can't make any more, at least not on the network. You can do fractional reserve of BTC quite easily because of the third-party custody, but you can't do that with Epic. And we don't have time to get into that, but we can certainly follow up. And if anybody has questions, throw them in the comments. We'll go monitor it. If you go to giverofepic.com, you don't have to buy it. You can just get a bit for free through the faucet. That's, again, community funded. You can mine it. There's people to help you get set up. So their second halving was 4 years, and it returned 4,200%. Our second halving from 8 coins to 4 coins per block, which we're at now, we had a gain of 3,000%. So they were up 4,200%, and we were only up 3,000%. Now in the third one, from May 11th, 2020 to March 2020, it was up 1,800%. So from 3,850 to 1,800 to 69,000. Now, a lot of that, like, hey, coincidentally, it went its all-time high on the halving date, and people have had a decade of training to learn that halving equals price go up. I better go buy. Well, they just got their face ripped off because we're at 28 grand, after going back down. Now, Epic, because we were kind of getting our stride, we have been up, let's see, we are up from 30 cents to $1.95. So when in doubt, zoom out. In 2022, our low was 32 cents. In 2021, it was 12 cents, and in 2020, it was a half a cent. So it's volatile daily. It's volatile weekly, it's volatile monthly, but over time, Charlie Munger quote: "When the long-term markets are weighing machines, whereas in the short term, they're voting machines." So we're leveraging that proven scarcity. There's a halving coming up that reduces the daily mining emission from 5,760 to 2,880 in 3 months. Now, in August 2025, that goes from 2,880 down to 1,440. And then 26 months later, or I think it's 33 months, at the singularity point in June of 2028 with BTC, Epic and BTC will both be pumping out 210 coins a day. So through things like the Trillions TV show and Freeman University and Giver of Epic and helping, like earthquake relief in Turkey and all these things that we're doing, we're going to reach millions of people, and they're going to want to go and get these coins, and there's only 210 a day coming out. So there's not enough, there's not enough, even at $1 million, there's not enough Epic for people to get even like one coin.
And who's mining
themselves.
them? And who's mining them? Can my audience mine Epic?
Yes, yeah.
Uncle V,
Go to Epic.tech/downloads if you have a Mac, if you have a PC, especially if you have a gaming rig, if you have like an AMD 3060 to 3090, even the 2060s and 2080s, and even the 10 series can still do it. So there's 2 billion GPU owners. And there's, I think, about 5 billion PC owners. And what we're really excited about is there's 15.1 billion mobile devices, so cell phones and tablets. So that's probably next year versus this year. There's still some challenges, but we're getting closer. The BTC network can only handle 350,000 transactions a day, and each one it costs more than the daily income of Nigerians. So that's not going to work. And even if you do Lightning, it would take 133 years for everybody to onboard onto Lightning with a single transaction. That dog does not hunt. So play the 27-minute video for those that have stuck around for an hour and a half, stick around for that one. And then jump in the chats, go to t.me/epiccash. We're all obsessed, and we would love to help you take that first bite of the elephant on your own 10,000-hour journey. Ignorance is a choice in an age of information, and you can, walk into the meat grinder and hope you like the taste of crickets, or you can take positive steps to avoid that.
Hey, Sean.
Yeah, one question though, Uncle V, before you go. Here's my obvious
Sure.
question for Max. So he's got two Zooms open. One is his laptop, one's for the phone. So we were going to do some screen shares via the laptop. We never got there, but then the audio. Here's my question, the most obvious question of all, Max. Why on earth do you not have an Epic Cash avatar on your Zoom channels?
Oh, I should. I should, because I'm I'm not a public speaker. I'm not a podcast.
You usually have your
Oh, do I? Yeah, no, it's just like I sit and read white papers, and I help entrepreneurs get going, and that there's dozens of small businesses, and this is a mission. I want to give away $1 trillion, not after I die and I've been a plutocrat the whole time. I want to make it a better world when I'm here. So the Freeman Family Foundation and the ECR Vision Pledge, where these startups that are building, they basically have to pay it forward and give it back. If you've prospered, then Sean, if you make $1 million off of this thing, would you please donate 10,000 to something that you find worthy? If you give back 1%, that'll fuel the next 10x for you. That once people understand the math of how this thing works, you go, wait a minute, I can see my way to $33 million Epic. It sounds crazy, but I've been studying it in free U for a year, and these guys are right. So it's just basic math. There's 500 trillion of fiats against 21 million of Epic. So the equation can only go in one direction.
Yeah, and Uncle V, I've got a real knack for interrupting, so go ahead. I'll give you the final word. We'll wrap this up.
I just have two things that I want to say. First of all, related to the video that people are going to watch, I want to just set the table for it before you do. So, Sean, are you a football guy at all?
Yeah, I love football.
Okay, so you know Mike Tomlin, right? The head coach?
Yeah.
I love what he said about his players, right? He would say about a player, I will tolerate you until I can replace you. And that's what I feel is the case with BTC. We have tolerated BTC and it being a surveillance chain until we can replace you. That replacement is Epic Cash. When you watch the video down below, please do that. If you don't do anything else, please invest the 27 minutes. If you're Epic curious at all, or even just crypto curious, or you want to know the truth, it is a fantastic video. Secondly, when I consider, Sean, why Epic Cash is going to succeed, and to answer your friend's a question, or better, let me say, what makes Epic Cash successful? I point to our community of volunteers. We attract extremely smart, freedom-focused, non-NPCs, the kind who lead with their chins versus their hands out. And best of all, even through the ups and downs, they just don't leave. And they remain committed, they contribute, they grab the nearest oar and they begin to row. It's beautiful to witness. T.me/Epic Cash. That is our lobby. That's our welcoming committee. Anybody, please come visit us and say hi. What you will find is that we are a very welcoming community. And I think that differentiates us from every other community in crypto, because I don't care what your level of expertise or lack of expertise, when you come into T.me/Epic Cash, ask a question, you are going to have 300 people try to help you out, try to hold your hand, try to guide you. Mother Trucker is a mother and she's a trucker. And she came in when I did. None of us, I always say, don't believe anything I say because I don't know shit. That's been my shtick from the beginning, because I didn't, but I dedicated myself to learning. And now I find I'm 2 years later, you said it, 10,000 hours, sure. But man, oh man, the shoulders of giants we stand on, Max and I do, are our volunteers. So I can't hype them up enough, because they're what makes us tick.
And entrepreneurs. I mean, it's not all kumbaya. Shout out to Audu and Slek and Dolapo in Nigeria. They raised some money to pay food vendors in Epic and go feed hungry people, and held educational seminars. They paid for billboards. They're going around to local merchants. And setting up their own small businesses. I mean, in Nigeria, they're destroying ATMs because they were restricted to only $45 a day of currency, their naira. And if you're in Nigeria, $2 transaction time, $2 transactions for BTC, sometimes as high as $81, and they take 30 minutes to clear. That's not going to work for you. Also, the centralized intermediaries don't want to do business with Nigerians, and because of fraud and whatnot, money laundering concerns, all those things. It's just not profitable. It's easier to say no, and so they're frozen out by these mechanisms of exclusion. So it's not just our volunteers, but it's also the entrepreneurs and the people who realize that if you want to be the change you want to see in the world. Shout out to Ron Paul, been talking about ending the Fed for 40 years. Okay, well, here it is. Go do it. We built it. You can use it. You're welcome.
Yeah, everything. Boy, we've got those T-shirts out there now that say Alex Jones was right. We need to make the Ron Paul was right T-shirts as well. Ron Paul has been right about all of this. He's been sounding the alarm as we've been trying to do. Well, final word, guys. Shout out
to Bill Hicks. Shout out to Bill Hicks.
Oh, yeah, no kidding. No kidding. I love Bill Hicks. I love that shtick about, I've come to believe that when the president wins, he's brought down to the basement, and then he's shown this screen of an angle of the JFK assassination that's never been seen before. The screen goes back up in the smoke-filled room filled with bureaucrats, and they look at the president and say, "Any questions?" Nope, just what my agenda is.
Some might say Bill Hicks is an internal spirit that's able to remanifest in different corporeal forms.
Could
Just
be.
leave it there.
I'm gonna have to play that back. You just blew my mind.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah, no. Okay, watch the BitChute comments. Watch.
All right.
Breadcrumb.
Okay.
Well, say it again.
I believe you.
Say that again. What did you just say?
Okay. So, bye, Bill Hicks. Welcome, Alex Jones.
Oh, yeah. I've heard people say that Bill Hicks is Alex Jones.
It's uncanny. I'm not putting forth that theory. I just like in order to punch through the fluoride and the chemtrails and the 5G, you got to kind of open your mind to questioning things that we used to know, not just believe were true. With this AI stuff and deep fakes and whatnot, you can't really trust your eyes and your five senses anymore. And we live in these different realities where your TikTok feed determines what reaches your mind, and we're all limited by bandwidth and our Dunbar number and stuff like that. So it's a fascinating time to be alive. We're putting together a lot of different things. I know we don't have time, but basically free speech and censorship, not just being able to preserve our autonomy and independent self-sovereignty in terms of our finances, but also the ability to lead an unimpeded life. And that includes being able to, talk with one another. If you've been using PayPal for years in your small business, well, I have news for you. The PayPal terms of service says that they can, if they don't like what you say online, hate speech and misinformation, unquote, they can go and ding your credit card for $2,500. They can take it out of your bank account, not just your PayPal balance. They've put in social credit in this country, and thousands of people canceled their account and started tweeting, and they said, oh no, it was a mistake and we were just kidding, and then they went and put it back in a week later. In China, if you say something wrong, your bus pass doesn't work and you can't go anywhere, and good luck buying food and stuff like that. So Canada, Australia, US, tyranny is everywhere, and you can either accept it or not.
Well, and it's both sides of the aisle with this Restrict Act, right? It's masquerading as the Ban TikTok Act, but that's a Trojan horse to introduce legislation and laws that are the Patriot Act on steroids, but for the internet. Hey, and just, in regards to what we're joking about with Alex Jones, Bill Hicks, I'd say, Biden's earlobes. Can anybody explain how earlobes change? And how about the Tennessee shooter's shoes? Every single time there's one of these events, there's more questions than answers. So yes, we live in trying times, and these are the times that try men's souls, but guys, it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better because of the collapse of the dollar. And the reason I wanted to get these two gentlemen on today is to talk about ways to really hedge yourself against a collapse. Max firmly believes, as does Uncle V, that Epic Cash is the way to go. Some people think it's Bitcoin. Most of my audience thinks it's physical gold and silver. I don't know if at this point I can argue with any of those. I think anything's better than the dollar. And people are going to learn that the hard way. I have friends, neighbors, and colleagues, Uncle V, to this day, that still don't understand what Bitcoin is or how it works or why it exists. So those people are never going to hear about Epic Cash.
Well, actually, no, they will, Sean, and I'll tell you why. Because one of the projects that's getting going, if you go to trillionslive.com, the team that did Mission Impossible 1, 2, and 3, 1.4 billion at the box office, 22 award nominations. They won an Academy, a Grammy, and an Emmy. They were looking to do a TV show called Trillions, and found their way to me as an expert. So that's been getting going for quite some time. So we don't need those people to know or care that it's blockchain. When I hit a website, I don't care if it's Cisco or Juniper or whoever makes the router. I just want the packets to go better, faster, cheaper. It doesn't matter whether the cat is black or white. It matters how it catches mice. It's the functionality of this stuff.
Unpack Trillions, because you didn't talk about how we are the crypto asset featured in there, and that you're a co-writer.
So I'm the co-writer. That's Ava Freeman. That's the protagonist. We call ourselves the Freeman family. My moniker that I've adopted is Max Freeman, maximum freedom for mankind. So there's like lots and lots of people. Uncle and I are actually doxxed, so nothing nefarious afoot. Anything related to fiat and corporations and legal documents and stuff needs to be with our meat space identities. But you got to walk the walk on the cypherpunk side, and so this modern world with different hats and so on, it gets complicated. And so Trillions Live is going to tell the story of crypto and educate people through an entertainment way, and also create a DAO, a club around it called the Network of Future Trillionaires, or Trillionaire DAO. So people will put what they learn to work, like these entrepreneurial Nigerians and Batuhan in Turkey, and people that have decided to go and grab that first ring on the economic ladder to pull themselves up. We're not going to give people fish, at least try not to. Okay, here's 10 cents worth of coins to get started or whatever, that's fine. But really, we need to teach them to fish. And that means changing people's ideas about money, what money's supposed to be, what the appropriate role of like different people in your life to interfere with stuff is. Wherever you stand on any particular issue, if you get back to first principles, I think we can agree that a free and open economy, more like what the United States used to have, is a better model than the Soviet Union. And the Soviet Union collapsed, and we took over and all that. So the existing economy is being shrunk down by restrictions, by regulation, by taxation, by a changing of priorities from what we used to prioritize to different things. Let's give $5 million in reparations to any local person who can fill out these forms properly and whatnot.
It's a
I'm interrupting. I want to be able to just kind of ground the trillions. Sean, you're familiar with the movie Castaway, yeah?
Yeah, with Tom Hanks. Let me just say, too, for people that bumped on that, thinking that there's never been a trillionaire, go watch my video, Rothschild Trillions Quantified. But in that case, we're talking about bloodlines in a family. We're talking about the Khazarian Mafia. One other thing, just to joke about that, is that there have been plenty of trillionaires just in Zimbabwe after hyperinflation, guys.
There you go. Right. Well, with regard to Castaway, the integral, the whole Castaway movie wasn't about this dude, getting lost and going on an island. It was an infomercial about FedEx and Wilson. And so if you know Castaway and you see how FedEx was integrated into it beautifully, Epic Cash will be integrated into Trillions just like that, so that just by watching and being entertained, people are going to know Epic Cash.
When does that get released?
Well, when does
it premiere is the better question.
Yeah,
I'm talking about Trillions Live.
Yeah, so we have no firm date, but we are as eager as everyone else. There's lots of plates spinning. We didn't have a mobile wallet until January, as an example, and then like too many people were using it, and we realized, okay, if this server goes down here, then it's going to overwhelm it, and that's going to be a bad user experience. How do we get that better? If you have one person out of 10,000 that has a bad experience, and you get 1 million users, that's 10,000 negative people that are 100 times more likely to give you a 1-star review and never come back. So, we had to commit to a 5-star level of experience. And as cutting edge tech, there's a lot of things to do there. So there's a tie-in with that, with the World Series of, I think it's sports betting and a few other ones. No, I don't think it's poker. Maybe, but it's definitely sports betting. Mars knows. He's been busy. I've been busy. He's developing a blockchain-based streaming alternative platform to Netflix without censorship and greater economics for creators, called View It. He's written 154 screenplays. 154 screenplays. These guys have 50 years of Hollywood experience behind them. And so they've got the entertainment piece, we've got the tech piece, we've got the community piece. And we really think that we can create the network of future trillionaires, whether that's Zimbabwe trillions, Venezuelan Bolivar trillions, or
SGT
dollars,
report,
whatever.
SGT report trillionaires. I like that.
American dollar survivors. Now trillionaire.
Yeah, right.
But because that is the key. Everything we're talking about here too, even as some people say, $1 million Bitcoin, that's priced in USD. I mean, it'll be priced in other currencies too. The point is all these fiat currencies around the world are really in the meltdown phase, at least in the Western world. And that's what we need to prepare against. That's what we're trying to do with this conversation. I'm not proselytizing about Bitcoin. I'm not proselytizing about Epic Cash. I'm just proselytizing about the need to get out of the dollar and to spare yourself the nightmare of what's coming, my friends.
Sean,
So, yeah.
Sean, sorry, I was on mute. I tried to jump in. So the reason that the BTC dog doesn't hunt, that the Maxis, the laser-eyed, bullies on Twitter, they're talking about, Elliott waves and super cycles and all this. At $1 million Bitcoin, it will probably be $1,000 to $5,000 to send. You're not sending BTC at $1 million for less than $100 ever. So remember, it can only do 350,000 transactions a day. That's 4.6 per second. WeChat Pay alone, just for China, processes 1 billion transactions a day. We've got an architecture that can scale into the tens of billions of transactions a day without layer 2, without sharding, without any of those compromises. So it's going to take time. We're not going to get there overnight, but we will get there.
All right. Well, I think that's a good final word from Max Freeman. He's the founder of Epic Cash. And I would call him the sidekick. Do you like that? Are you the sidekick, Uncle V? What is your title? Are you the Epic sidekick?
I just say, how high, or I say, what can I carry for you? No, you know what? I'm just a guy who likes to talk, and I'm a business person who, I work for a venture collective. We have 22 portfolio companies, and I'm the head of partnership development. So I love anything related to connecting people together and talking about number go up. I'm a for-profit kind of guy. I kind of would like my investments. I remember 2008 to where my IRA was cut in half. Not anything that I did. I just let it ride and it cut in half. And so when I decided to opt out of my IRA 2 years ago and pivoted into Epic Cash, I at least felt that I was in control. And you know what? With everything that's happening right now, and you know it, Sean, it's not if, it's when. If I would have kept all my money in my IRA, it would be cut by half again, maybe even 2/3, or it's going to be forced into some CBDC to be able to
bail-ins, negative interest rates, capital controls. I mean, they're introducing money. I hate to even call it money. They're introducing currency that expires worthless if you don't spend it in time. That can only be spent on certain things.
And I'm sorry, Sean, the day that they say you cannot have access to your CBDCs or your money that's in the bank until you show proof of a jab, of a vaccination, that's coming. Everybody should know that. If you got to get out of the financial system, or at least a portion of it. I don't care what it is. You want to start with 5%, 10%, and I don't care if it's in Bitcoin or other, I have 2 years that say the smart money is to get into Epic Cash, and I can back that up. I have 500 hours to back it up, but please, at least try to get into gold. Gold is a great hedge.
Gold is great. Gold is awesome.
Yeah. Silver's poised to absolutely bust out. I mean, look at the charts on silver right now. By the way, one last screen share here. You guys keep inspiring me to never shut up here and wrap this up. So the Great Awakening means the plebs finally understand exactly who the enemies of humanity are. What's going on right now as we're having this conversation?
Wow.
In Paris, these protesters you see are in the BlackRock headquarters.
Wow. That's awesome.
Sean, do you know who controls Ethereum? Vitalik Buterin admitted that this organization called Circle behind the USDC stablecoin has the power to determine future network forks. They went from proof of work to proof of stake. They've had hacks where they've rewritten the rules on the whim. They have a mutable system where the people in charge can change it, and they do, whereas Epic and BTC are immutable. BlackRock and Goldman own Circle and are partnered up with the Federal Reserve. they went after Paxos, the provider of the Binance stablecoin, to kill the competition. And they've given Tether a stay of execution for now. But that thing's fraudulent as the day is long and could be popped at any time. That's the next Terra Luna times 1,000. Those choke points exist. So these are very either hazardous times for your wealth or the greatest opportunity for you to set yourselves up where your great grandkids are thanking that Pappy was so wise.
Well, that's been my point too. When I first told people consider dipping a foot into the pool with Bitcoin, my thesis was it will go back up to all-time highs and beyond, and then it went to 68,000. I never saw that coming. My point was you could always use that then to convert Bitcoin money back into cash and then buy all the gold and silver you want in physical form. So that was always sort of my case use for Bitcoin. I didn't say go all in on Bitcoin. I never proselytized Bitcoin. I just knew the dollar is dangerous and the dollar is used to wage war. See, that's what the whole world is getting sick and tired of. And that's why so many nation states are turning their backs on Biden and his criminal administration as they use cash, as they use the USD as a weapon of war, as a weapon of tyranny.
Sean, have you ever heard of a company called Blockstream?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so the vast majority, not all of them, but most of them, and the ones who matter that control BTC development work for Blockstream. Do you know who owns Blockstream? Digital Currency Group. Do you know who owns Digital Currency Group? MasterCard. So meet the new master, same as the old master.
See, the longer we go, the more I learn, guys.
Well, let's come back. I mean, and let's have the audience get involved. I mean, come to our chats, get set up with the wallet. If you check it out, I'll happily give somebody a coin. Uncle V will too. Let's get a QR code up on this video and prove the power of this peer-to-peer network. This is not theoretical. We've all put in our 10,000 hours trying to get it to be usable by average people, and we're pretty much there. The Epic.tech mobile wallet has not 4.7 or 4.8 or 4.9, but 5 stars. Its first 1,000 reviews or first 1,000 downloads got 250 5-star reviews. So it's not just better blockchain money. It's simply better money.
That would be the Epic.tech wallet.
The Epic.tech mobile wallet. Yep. So tinyurl.com/epic-pay. We'll include all these links. We'll send them to you and we can push it out. So everybody can join the Freeman family right now. And if you're listening to SGT Report, you're listening to Mike Adams, you're listening to Dan Dix, Press for Truth, to Josh Sigurdson, World Alternative Media. All of these people like you have said, let me get a few of those coins, and then how can I help? Oh, I have this Twitter account. I'm going to retweet this. I'm going to help this small business get set up. I like this bunny rescue here in town. So I did a matching donation program. People I tried to donate in PayPal and it wouldn't work. So I said, here, let me get you set up with this magic internet money. What do I do with it? Oh, okay. Well, a few months later, now there's a program where a dollar of fiat money in goes to $2 Epic out for him, and then that proves out the use case. So this is an infinite landscape of creative potential for people to manifest their dreams.
Well, that's a good good opening soundbite. All right, we may have just found my opening soundbite for this interview. All right, guys, our guests have been Uncle V. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
You are welcome.
And Max Freeman. Thank you, Max.
Always a pleasure, Sean. Let's do it again and come join us on Telegram.
All right, friends, I will leave all of the links below. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in, and thank you for your support. We really do appreciate it. I remind you every single day for free, visit us directly for real news, the antidote to corporate propaganda at sgtreport.com. God bless you and your family. Bye-bye.
There's $92 trillion, $93 trillion of total debt. And about 58 trillion of that is securitized, so it can be traded and can be sold relatively quickly. And so you can have selling of debt and the buying of real assets like foodstuffs and gold and silver and oil, etc. And in a matter of weeks, you can create extraordinarily high levels of price inflation. And that's what we're facing now.